I start to get just a little bit better. What I was thinking we would do today is build a campaign together live. So I'm going to wait for a second to let some people trickle in, because without people, it's not really live. I'm just as live as I guess I could be, but there's nobody here to talk to. So what I want to do is I want to build a campaign, and I'd like to do it kind of ad hoc. I'd like to show you the structure, the way that we structure campaigns. A lot of this is going to align with the course material that I'm about to release, because my course is done, by the way. We're just putting the final touches on the structure. So I felt like this would be a really good preview of what we have going on in the course. So what I'm going to do is let me share my screen here. And now that my screen is shared, what I'll do is I'll walk through a campaign build up. And if you're watching live, I see we got a couple people trickling in. Thanks for being here. Drop in the comments any questions you have. A, if I'm going too fast, but B, if we are building this together, one of the things that you could benefit from is maybe directing me as far as what type of campaign you would build for your clients. And then I might be able to help, explain the way that I would do that. So I'm in my little Sandbox account right now. Inside of the Sandbox account, we have access to all of our campaigns here. And you'll notice that I don't have any. So the very first thing that we're going to do is create a new campaign. Before I do that, I want to preface and just say, I'm not going to dive into conversion tracking, because it's going to be cumbersome and hard. And I don't know that that's the right place for us to do this. But the most important thing for you to do is to track your conversions properly. And I like to build out my conversion actions before I build the campaign, so that you can build the campaign around the conversion actions. Sylvester, what's up, buddy? It's good to see you. And yeah, I have somebody to talk to now. I appreciate you being here. Alamagir is asking how he can apply UTM keyword on a website. I think what you're asking, if I'm not mistaken, is based off of one of the videos we released previously, where you use the UTM parameters in order to roll content on the site. I'm probably not going to talk about that today, because I'd like to do the campaign build out, but I can send you that link, or you can just check out our YouTube channel for it. Just go to my YouTube channel, which is right here, by the way, and search for UTM. And you'll see a couple of things, but this is what I'm pretty sure that we're talking about, using UTM parameters in order to customize your site content. So I hope that's helpful. Let's dive in. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to build out a new campaign, and y'all can kind of watch along. This is going to be a new search campaign. Now, here's what's really interesting is, in the past, I have encouraged people to not use goal guidance. So I've told my students in my courses and some of my videos, I've said, create a campaign without a goals guidance. And the reason that we've said that is because when you create a campaign with goal guidance, Google restricts the things that are available and accessible to you, including bid strategies, by the way, which is nuts. So creating a campaign without a goal guidance opens up all the tools on your tool belt. However, with that said, what's interesting, and I have no way of proving this, but I have a mild suspicion that choosing a goal guidance actually may begin to help us algorithmically, because now we're telling the machine what it is that we want. And Google is leaning so heavily in the direction of machine learning that we could be putting ourselves at a disadvantage if we ignore goal guidance long term. So here's my new story. And this might change, by the way. But my new story, and can you all see my screen, Sylvester? Is my screen showing okay? I just want to make sure the live feed's coming through. Give me a little thumbs up, or yay or nay. But my new story is, we're going to create a campaign without a goal guidance for exploratory campaigns, for new campaigns. And once you've been able to properly qualify a conversion event, basically meaning once you've been able to prove concept, with an audience and an approach, then you might want to segue into a campaign with goal guidance. And again, this may or may not change, but in the short term, we're going to create a campaign without a goals guidance. And we're going to do that because we don't want any restrictions. Now, Google says, what type of campaign do you want? Search, display, shopping, video, app, smart, local, discovery. There's obviously great reasons for all of these things. The one that we're going to play with right now is search. But don't get myopic in your scope. If you're used to just living in search and display, realize that you're putting yourself at a disadvantage if you're not playing around with Google's smart campaigns, discovery campaigns, and so it's really worth kind of being just sort of clicky. Everybody's saying they can't see the screen. Cool, thank you for that. So I'm going to jump into search. It's going to ask me the results that I want to get from this campaign, and this is another one of those things that I think I think could help you from a machine learning perspective when you give Google sort of the thumbs up or thumbs down. But you'll also notice that there's, it just feels like it's restricting settings and features. And I haven't done a deep enough dive to figure out what settings and features it's restricting, but I'm just not going to select any of these because I don't want to lose any functionality. And if you have context that I don't have on that, by the way, I'd be really interested in it. So let's go ahead and click continue. I've already got a thumbs down on this video. That's so funny. I don't know what I did wrong. I have one thumbs up though, so I'm going to assume that I'm at 50. I'm batting 50-50 right now. Campaign name. So we build, generally speaking, we build 4 campaigns for all of our clients. Well, I can't say all, for most of our clients. We build a general campaign, and this is the campaign that goes after keywords that are related to your product or service. And then we also build a competitor campaign that's targeting your competitors. We build a brand campaign that protects your brand, and we build a remarketing campaign that's meant to bring people back in. 3 of the 4 of those campaigns are search campaigns. The remarketing campaign is a display campaign. So right now we're just going to go general campaign, and we'll build this for a dental implants. So this is our general campaign for a dental implant customer because somebody asked me to build out dental education, and I guess this can double as that. Notice that on a campaign level, we are going to control our budget. On an ad group level, we're going to control our targeting, basically, from a keyword perspective, or maybe even potentially from an audience perspective. And so when you're building out a campaign, you don't necessarily want to segment your campaigns by targets. So there's a bunch of different ways to go after dental implants. There's different dental implant products, like one in particular is called All On 4, which is a certain type of implant product. And then there's just generic dental implants. So what I would do is I would take this campaign and split it up into a couple of different ad groups. And those ad groups would help me identify where the performance is and in what contexts. So I've got my campaign name. I'm also obsessed with naming conventions, really strong nomenclature. So if you're not naming things in a way that makes it really clear, it becomes harder later as you're building out campaign after campaign to figure out where you are and what you've done. So, spend some time thinking through your naming conventions. I actually also might remove that colon. One thing I didn't, if you're using, depending on the types of tools you're using from an API perspective, I've noticed that special characters actually hurt some of the import and they mess things up. So just a mild pro tip. Now, Google says networks. Hey, let's go ahead and use the search network and the display network. This is a catastrophic error. It's okay to use a search partner network because it allows for some expansion, and we've seen some pretty quality traffic inside of Google search partners. That said, don't use the display network because this isn't a display campaign. I don't think there's anything wrong with the Google Display Network. I think it's a phenomenal tool. The display network reaches 90% of all internet users on the planet. 65% of them are reached on a daily basis. It's the most prolific thing on the internet. However, if you're going to run a display campaign, go run a display campaign independent of your search campaign. You don't want to bundle these things because they're 2 different paradigms, and your display network, your display campaign is going to eat up all the budget from your search campaign. So uncheck this, regardless of don't miss the opportunity to reach more people. This is a flawed model. This is just you spending more money in a way that's less effective. We're also going to click on show more settings. Anytime you see these little drop downs here, this means Google is hiding something from you. They're hiding something from you, and they're about to take advantage of you. So if I say show more settings, a couple of notes. I don't like adding end dates. I have no way of proving this, but I think that Google deprioritizes your visibility if you have an end date. And I know that sounds ultra paranoid, and it probably is, but I have some experience to help kind of support that assertion. So even if your campaign has an end date, don't put it in here. Just go schedule time on your calendar, put an event for yourself and a reminder so that you know to shut it off. Campaign URL options, this is really critically important. So Alan McGeer is talking about using UTM parameters in order to change content on a website, which we have a video on. This is one of the places where you could build a tracking template to issue some of those UTM parameters. And you can actually use include tags in the tracking template. So, you could have like your little squirrely bracket campaign tags that would swap out campaign names or ad group names or whatever you want to do. If you know how to use this, that's great. If you don't and you're new, I wouldn't pay attention to it. This is a more advanced feature that is, I'm not going to tell you it's not important. It's, I think, in many cases, critically important, especially when you start spending a lot of money. But if you're new to Google Ads, don't let yourself get overwhelmed. Dynamic search ads is a phenomenal tool. We're not going to use it for this search campaign, though. DSA is really cool. It's Google crawling your site, seeing what it thinks you're applicable to. You don't even get to pick keywords, which is really interesting. And then it decides what to bid on, and it even writes some of your ad copy for you, which is kind of nifty. But we're not going to use it here. And then the last thing is the ad schedule. An amateur mistake is to adjust your ad schedule based on when you think your customers are searching. Here's what's cool about search. And this isn't true about all of Google's products, but what's cool about search is if they're not searching, you don't pay. So it makes sense to keep the ad schedule open 24/7, 365 until you have a data-driven reason to adjust your schedule. Now, are there exceptions to that rule? Of course there are. But in the short term, let's not touch this. Targeting, this gets really interesting. So you can choose where to target. All countries and locations. I see North America here. Depending on where you are geographically, you might see different options. We can go, ultra specific if I want to. I can say, hey, I want to target Arizona. I can also exclude. So you can say, hey, I do want to target this, but let's say I don't want to target Scottsdale for whatever reason. I've got a competitor here that I just can't compete with price-wise. So I'm going to go after Arizona, but exclude all of Scottsdale. You can sculpt your geography to your heart's content. Here's what's interesting. Once your geography is sculpted, when you go down to location options, Google has this horrible option selected. Presence or interest. People regularly in, or, and this is the key point, who've shown interest in your target locations. This is a problem because if I am a dentist and I'm selling dental implants and I'm in Scottsdale, Arizona, and somebody from Florida is traveling to Scottsdale for the winter, let's say. And I guess they wouldn't be coming from Florida, would they? They'd be coming from New York. So somebody from New York is coming to Scottsdale for the winter. And they've been researching Scottsdale, and they bought a bunch of plane tickets, and they're looking up, fun things to do in events and whatnot. And then later, an hour later, a day later, whatever, they are now looking for dental implants. That New Yorker is probably not going to get their dental implants done in Scottsdale. They're probably going to get their dental implants done in New York, where they're home. They just happen to have been, looking at their winter vacation, which is still months out. So in that particular instance, I could show up and they could end up clicking on my super expensive ad. What we want is we want people in or regularly in your target location. And actually, now that I'm thinking about this, let me dive deeper into the geography, because if we are really doing a dental implant, you would want to target by extreme specificity from a geographic perspective. If you're a dentist and you're offering dental implants, there's only so far people are willing to travel. Now, they're willing to travel a lot farther for implants than they would to be travel for cleaning, because a dental implant could be a $50,000 surgery, and it's an important thing, and they want a high-end dentist and probably the best price, and maybe you have better materials than other people have, so you can get pretty expansive here. But I'd be careful about getting too expensive. So I wouldn't target all of Arizona like I had done earlier. What I would do is, let's say that, my office is here, my dental clinic is here. What I might do is I might grab a radius and say, what, I think people will come from as far as 30 miles out, potentially. And I want to be able to target people that are 30 miles out. And so I'll drop my pin here and I'll say target. And you'll notice that that's actually a really big radius. And I'm capturing a lot of people from all over the valley, but not so far that I don't think I'd be able to service them. Now, you can have campaigns that are segmented by geography. So if you wanted to go, which might be intelligent, you might say, hey, anybody within 10 miles of my office, I really want to prioritize those bids. And then as I get further out, I want to deprioritize them. That's perfectly fine. But for now, I'm just going to say dental implants, I think a broader geography might be helpful. 30 miles looks like it's a little too broad. That's a little big. So let's do 20. And see what happens when I drop 20. That feels better. People are going to come from Chandler for sure. Knowing what I know about my city, I feel like this is a pretty good geographic segment. So I'm going to say save. And now I'm going to go down to languages. What's interesting about languages is you would think that you want to target English, but you don't with search campaigns. With a search campaign, you want to target all languages because they're searching in English. We're bidding on English language keywords. So regardless of what their browser setting is, especially I'm in Arizona, half the population here speaks Spanish. So we don't want to inhibit people's ability to see our ads based off of what their browser setting is. So we're going to say all languages for search campaigns. For display campaigns, you should have your language of choice here. So depending on where you are in the world and what languages are applicable, I don't restrict searches by language in search campaigns, but I do restrict inside of display campaigns. Oh, Casey's here. What's up, Casey? Thanks for being here, man. Really appreciate you. You got to be sick of me by now. I mean, you were the high level training. Now this. Hopefully, I'm not going to fatigue you. Appreciate you being here, dude. If you're just joining, we're building out a campaign live. We're building out a dental campaign for dental implants specifically. Here's the audience segment. I really like Google's observation mode for audiences. If you have a strong reason to segment by audience, so for instance, you could say, hey Google, I want to see how well audience A performs against audience B. And what you can do is you can build your audience here, and I might be able to build. Let's see, health and fitness. There we are. Where did it go? Health and fitness buffs. So if I want to see health and fitness buffs, and I want to see how well they perform against the standard audience, what I could do is I could choose health and fitness and then put them in observation. Here's why I might do that. Because a dental implant practitioner might say, you know what, I actually think health and fitness people are going to be willing to pay more, convert better, be more engaged. So I'm going to put this audience in observation. Don't put them in targeting. Because if you put them in targeting, now you're only going after people that have decided are in this affinity audience. And incidentally, Google, you'll notice that there's little tags here. And I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this, but at the top it says in-market audience. In-market means they're actually here to buy. So Google has identified that this is a person who's in the market for health insurance. Affinity audience means this is a person who's just interested in this thing. So these are people that are interested in health and fitness, and I'm putting them in my observation mode. What's cool about having them in observation mode is it doesn't impact the visibility of your ads to that audience. All it does is tell you, it draws a little bubble around those people, and it tells you how well they're performing compared to your normal campaign. Then when you go to build on that, you now know, like, gosh, the health and fitness people are my people. I'm going to go straight after them. Our budget, you want to add whatever it is that you want to spend each day. Realize that your campaign budget needs to be spread across your ad groups. So if I have 5 different ad groups for this particular campaign, I need to have a budget that supports those 5 ad groups. In my mind right now, I've got 2. I've got dental implants generic, and I've got all-in-4, which is specific. So if I've got 2 ad groups that I want to support, I know my average cost per click is going to be at least $25. So I'm going to want 4 clicks per campaign. So I'm going to say $200 a day. That's a minimum here for this particular client, given what I know about his industry, his or her industry. If you don't know what your average CPC is, by the way, before you're diving off into budgets, go hit Google's keyword planner, and let's see what right I was. I think dental implants is going to be $25 CPC nationwide. Dental implants. And I'm usually wrong, so we'll see how off I am. Dental implants, 2 to 10. Gosh, that's so low. That's unreal. Let me narrow this down. Let's see if Arizona's just more expensive. I've ran this campaign for a client. So we'll do Phoenix and we'll do the DMA, which is the larger group, and we'll see. Yeah, it went up just a little bit. So I was off. Our average CPC is going to be $16. So $200 a day just became a healthier budget. And I always go with the top of page bid approximation when I'm budgeting for clicks. That doesn't mean that I'm going to bid to be at the top of page. That just means that I'm budgeting to allow myself to be there in order to capture all relevant data. And notice that we've got Google decides that all-on-4 is analogous to dental implants, which is one of the points that I was making. Even though dental implants and all-on-4, potentially the same thing or similar to the same thing, I don't want to bid on them the same way. So I'm actually going to split these up into 2 different ad groups, and you'll see me do that here in just a minute. So now that I know what my budget is, I'm going at $200 a day. Now we get to decide on our bidding. And Google's like, hey, what is it that you want to focus on? Here are your options. And you think to yourself like, well, that's weird. That doesn't feel like all the options I should have. When you go down here, select a bid strategy directly, not recommended. Now your options expand. What? Why would Google do that? We're going to choose manual CPC. We're not going to be able to enable enhanced CPC because we don't have conversions enabled. This is one of the reasons I said at the beginning of this training, I always like to check to build my conversion actions first, because it just makes things more cohesive. You can add a conversion action after the fact, but if certain things that you want to do aren't going to be accessible to you, even if I had a conversion action added, I wouldn't enable enhanced CPC in the short term, because what I want to do is I want to be able to determine what the market can bear before I start letting Google, enhanced CPC used to be a 250% increase in bid. So basically what this means is Google can bid whatever, we're going to go tell Google, hey, I'm willing to spend $20 a click. And Google's going to say, cool. But if I have enhanced enabled, then Google can bid 250% more for a click that it thinks is going to convert. And I think they took the lid off of that 250%. If memory serves, there's no stated limit. Now they're just like, hey, we're going to bid if we think that we can get this. I really like enhanced CPC. I think it works really well for high converting campaigns. I don't want it in the beginning of a campaign because I want to see what's normal, like what stasis, and then what happens when I start enhancing things. So notice that you're going to get some errors in the mornings. That's okay. We're going to leave it on manual CPC. Manual CPC is only if you're willing to sit there and watch your campaign. You have to manage it. You have to manage it. So if you want to use one of Google's automated maximized conversions, that's what Google recommends because it just lets them run amok. The issue with it though is you're leaving your control and your ability to capture the available data behind. So if you're willing to do the work, and I imagine you're watching this video, so you're willing to do the work, start with manual CPC. And then, by the way, once your campaign performs, I'm not telling you not to use Google Smart Bidding. Like their automated bidding strategies, I really like Target CPA. Once I know exactly what my conversions cost me, I get to go to Google and say, hey, I'm getting $40 conversions. Can you do any better? Here's a Target CPA of $40. Go. And now I get to compete against the machine, but I have a benchmark. I have a place to start from. So manual CPC, this is where we choose our conversion actions. I don't have any conversion actions selected, so this isn't going to let me do it. I could set it up here. Would again build your conversion actions prior to. Ad rotation. I don't even know why this exists. Optimize for best performing ads is going to help you. It's going to let Google put what it thinks is going to work in front of each individual prospect. This do not optimize, rotate ads indefinitely. I mean, this is one of the options that I actually resent them giving us. They take so much control away from us in so many other instances, but then they give us this thing that just would let us totally ruin our lives. I don't know of a use case where this would be effective outside of like, if I were trying to split test a book title, and I wanted to just see what the world likes better, maybe I want to rotate my ads indefinitely. But otherwise, if I'm trying to optimize for performance, I think that's a catastrophic error. And then these must have been deprecated because they haven't been available or accessible to me for as long as I've been messing around with this. But in this particular context, ad extensions are critically important. However, I'm not going to dive into them right now because I've got a bunch of videos on ad extensions. And I even think we have, I don't know where to find that, but I even think we have like a little channel. Oh, a little playlist. There we go. Aha. Do we somewhere? There we are. Google Ads extensions. So you can see we've got a whole playlist on ad extensions, and you can go learn ad extensions on your own time. I don't necessarily want to waste anybody's time trying to play that game in this particular instance. But with that said, ad extensions are going to influence your quality score. They're going to influence your click-through rate, the quality of your leads, where you rank. You have to build out ad extensions. If you don't, you're putting yourself at a massive disadvantage. And if you're not sure what ad extensions are, by the way, let's go look for project management software. Here's extensions. These are SiteLink extensions. So look at how much bigger Monday.com's ad is compared to everybody else. And look at how much more compelling it is. They have way more real estate, way more links, way more accessibility. And it's because they're using ad extensions. And ad extensions, this is just one type of extension. These are SiteLink extensions. There's a bunch of other Google ad extension examples. There's a bunch of other extensions. Where's the graphic that I like the most? Here we go. So you can see, like, here's a call out extension. Here are the review extensions. Here's the social extension. Here's the SiteLink extensions. So and these are old manifestations of Google, but you can start to kind of see when you add extensions, there's a location extension, structured snippets. It just gives you the ability to occupy more space and give people more information on your value offering. So please make sure you add ad extensions. We're going to click save and continue. Now we're building our ad group. So in the hierarchical structure that is Google, campaigns are first. Under campaigns are your ad groups. And you're going to have multiple ad groups per campaign, generally speaking. For this particular campaign, I have two ad groups. I have dental implants generic, and then I have all on four. So I'm going to do dental implants generic first. Implants generic. My default bid, I know my high water mark is about $20. So what I might do is I might start low. Now, this is dangerous to do. If you're doing this for a client, by the way, this might be a bad idea because it's going to take way more time. I like to start low because I like to, if there's a substantive difference between the quality of positions 4, 3, 2, and 1. But if I start at the top, I never know where that apex is. I actually might make more money at positions 2 or 3. So I like to start low and then travel up as opposed to starting at the top. The two different paradigms there. And then we're going to go play our keyword game. This is a really fun conversation. So there's 4 match types, kind of, and Google just deprecated one that's being phased out. So now there's 3 match types. Google defaults to broad match. And if you don't know what that means, you're going to give Google your keywords, and you're going to say, hey, Google, these are the terms that I want to bid on. And then you're going to put parameters around them. So if I were to just say dental implants, which, by the way, check this out. I can go to Google and say, hey, I want to bid on dental implants, and it's going to give me all the terms that I can bid on. Here's why this is a problem. That's not dental implants. That is top of the funnel, so that would be a different campaign. That's a good term, but I would also maybe segment that a little bit because this is potentially a lower qualified prospect. That's a great term, so I would keep that. Goodness, there's more here than I expected. I don't want to go through all of these. So I'm just going to pretend like here, dental implants cost is good, best dental implants, mini dental implants. I don't know what that is, so I'm probably going to delete that. Now, all on 4 dental implants, that's great, but that's for my next ad group, so I'm deleting that too. Affordable dental implants, I'd probably put that potentially like cheap, affordable, low cost. I'd put those in separate campaigns and then deprioritize those bids. Dental bridge cost, I don't know if a bridge is the same thing as an implant. I think it is, but that would be a different ad group. So now I've got generic all on 4 bridge. So I'm going to take that down. Dental reconstruction might be a great key phrase. I might put that in a separate ad group too. Dental implants NHS, I don't know what that is. So now I have to go search for that and say, what the heck is NHS? And do I want, it's a treatment type. The NHS. Does that make sense? I don't know. I don't know enough about dentists. This is something that you have to go to school in the industry. New dental implants, that'd be fine. Average cost of dental implants, that's very top of the funnel, but so is dental implant cost. I might leave that in there for now, but I know that that's going to produce some irrelevant traffic. So I just lied to you. I'm going to take it out. Teeth whitening is relevant at all. Missing teeth, that's a great top of the funnel phrase. So I'd keep that for an entirely different campaign where I was just doing awareness building. Low cost, I'm definitely killing because that's not a good prospect. Full dental implants, I really like that. So full, this is a qualifier key phrase. Full qualifier. New qualifier, best qualifier. These are people that articulates commercial intent. This is somebody who knows what they want and they're ready to buy. Titanium dental implants. I would check with my client to make sure that they actually offer titanium dental implants, but then I'd absolutely bid on that. Dental cosmetics, that's way too broad. You're going to get a bunch of crap. Teeth bridge, if bridges are the same as implants, then I would have this in a separate ad group. It's not going to go here. Kill all on 4, full mouth dental implants for sure. Dental implant pricing and costs would probably go together. And I'm still on the fence as to whether or not to have these in these ad groups. I'm going to say no. I'll put those in a separate one. Cheapest dental implants, hell no. Permanent dental implants is great. Mini dental implants, we need to go figure out what a mini dental implant is, but assuming it's the same thing, that's fine. And then I don't know, what is dental prosthesis? I guess the prosthetic is just a replacement, right? Looks like that includes dentures, so I'm going to say no to that. So I've got my terms for dental implants. Now, here's what's interesting. All of these terms are broad match. Here's the danger of broad match. Broad match tells Google, hey, Google, I want to bid on the term dental implants. Please bring me people searching for dental implants. But it's broad match, so feel free to be a little expansive. And Google says, oh, okay, well, somebody searched for tooth cement. And tooth sounds like dental and cement sounds like implant. So I'm going to give you somebody who searched for tooth cement. And I'm not being facetious, incidentally. I have bid on PPC company and had Google deliver things like, media buy agency. Now, I realize that those two things are analogous, but they're not the same term. And you can get into a lot of trouble with a lot of irrelevant phrases. The caveat to this is something called broadimation. When you're using broad match with smart bidding and you're properly tracking your conversions, broad match tends to work really well. But that's a more advanced strategy. I've got a ton of videos on that, by the way. So if you want to just go to my YouTube channel and check out broad match, you're going to see broad match plus smart bidding. And you can watch this and I talk a little bit about how insane it is that it actually works. It's a more advanced strategy. I don't recommend it especially not for newbies. what I would use, I used to really love Broad Match Modified. It was my favorite match type for new campaigns. And Broad Match Modified, it's when we use these little plus bubbles, or plus symbols, excuse me. And so I would say plus dental, plus implants. What we're saying here is, hey, Google, I want anybody who searches for the word dental and the word implant in whatever manifestation or variation. So there can be other words in between or around, but give me this roughly. And what's cool about it is it's an exploratory campaign that gives you a ton of really good ideas as to what people are searching. Well, Google just deprioritized Broad Match Modified. It's getting phased out, and they replaced it with Phrase Match. And Phrase Match, instead of the plus, it's these quotes. Phrase Match is a little bit more specific. What Phrase Match used to mean was, hey, somebody has to say dental implants, but I don't care if there's anything before and after. So they could say best dental implants near me, or do dental implants hurt? And I would get both of those. One of those is good, one of those is bad. However, Phrase Match is now expanding so that they don't have to use those words. Google will actually rope in things that they find to be semantically synonymous, which is dangerous, but it's the best that we have. So I would jump in here and I would make all of these Phrase Match. I don't use Exact Match on new campaigns. And I don't use it because with Exact Match, it's going to be more expensive. You're going to pay more money. So I'm going to use Phrase Match just to put some guardrails around this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to watch my search terms, see what it is I'm paying for, the search terms that Google actually makes available to me, see what it is I'm paying for, add negative keywords, and then add additional keywords as they become necessary. And that's keyword sculpting. And I've got a question here from Sylvester. What are your thoughts on creating campaigns for content pieces on your website for more top of the funnel keywords? Oh, what a great question, man. If the traffic is cheap enough and your content is good enough, do it. But I wouldn't pay $20 a click to, I'm tracking a really expensive prospect here. I wouldn't pay $20 a click to get somebody to my blog. For search, for display, outbound, discovery, YouTube, I'd absolutely drive top of the funnel traffic. And there I'd focus on things like in-market audiences, affinity audiences. So that's a different training, a different type of campaign, but it's a really good idea, brand awareness. And don't ever forget the Google Display Network when it comes to driving traffic for top of the funnel campaigns. The Google Display Network is the biggest missed opportunity by all marketers, myself included. It's so prolific and it's so cheap and it's just hard to use. And so nobody takes the time to really dive deep. So anyway, getting back, we've got our keywords, and this is a little messy, by the way, but I'm just doing kind of an ad hoc training. So I think this is good enough for now. You want 5 to 15 keywords per ad group, anything more than that. And you probably need to split things up. If I wanted to start splitting things up, maybe full becomes its own ad group. I don't believe in SKAGs anymore. So if you're familiar with SKAGs, it's single key phrase ad group. That means that you're bidding on, you only have one term per ad group. SKAGs used to make a lot of sense back in the day before we had the ability to really optimize using Google's machine learning. So if you were optimizing yourself and you were just aggregating data on your own, SKAGs is great. Not being able to rely on machine learning right now puts you at a massive disadvantage. So I don't play with the SKAG game. And I know that pisses some people off and it sparks a bloody nerd war, but I'm just telling you what I do. You can go decide whether or not you want to play with SKAGs. So I've got my dental implants. What I should be doing now is I should be adding my second ad group, which is all on 4. I'm not going to do that. You have the video, you know how to follow along. So the right thing to do here would be to add my subsequent ad group. And then, now that I have 2 ad groups per campaign, move forward. I'm going to skip that for the sake of time, but you know how to build ad groups now, so you should be in good shape. So we're going to save and continue. And now, pausing for water, Google wants me to build my ads. Here's what's really interesting, and this is new, relatively new. This actually, I found this out the hard way on a training. Google used to ask for 2 expanded text ads and 1 responsive search ad. You'll notice, if you're familiar with that, the only thing they're asking me to build here is the responsive search ad. Text ads have gone away in terms of Google's prioritization. Now I can go get them back if I want to, but it's Google's basically saying, hey, we think we can write your ads better than you do, or better than you can. So don't even worry about the text ads. And I'm kind of inclined to begin to agree with them. So if you want to be a stickler for the rules, you can click on this switch back to text ads and you can go write your own ads. That means that you're telling Google what 3 headlines you want to use. You're telling Google what 2 descriptions you want to use, etc. I'm going to stick to the responsive here and then build out expanded text ads only if I see my ads aren't performing. So the first thing we're going to do is go to our final URL. I actually don't have a final URL because I'm just doing this as a test. So we'll just go get my website, and it might end up being like all on 4. And if I wanted to be a real good boy from a conversion optimization standpoint, maybe one would go to implants, one would go to all-in-4, but that also dilutes my data, so I'm not going to do it. The display URL, though, I could say dental implants, and then this could be free consult. And what we've done there is it's just a little bit of psychological seasoning. We're letting people know what they're going to get, and people look at display URL just to make sure that they're not about to head somewhere that they don't want to go. And I bet you got an error. Oh, that's why. Interesante. Headlines. So we're going to come up with as many headlines as you can get. I think it limits it to 20, and then 4 descriptions. And the headlines, try to occupy as much space as you can. And we're going to use something called title case. So we're going to say best dental implants for you. And that's horrible copy, by the way. Horrible copy. But we're going to use it anyway. I might also say award-winning dentist. We'll do best dental implants. And now here's a pro tip. If I go real squiggly open bracket, I can do location insertion. And I can actually insert their location in this ad. So I'm going to say city. And now I've got best dental implants in city. And so if I'm in, Scottsdale, Arizona, but right next to Scottsdale is Phoenix, Glendale, Mesa, Tempe, etc. So if you're in Tempe and you search for dental implants, then this is going to come up with best dental implants in Tempe. And I'm also going to pin this and say, you know what, show this in position number 1. Because I always want this to be able to come up first. And so on and so forth. You build out, I'm not a great copywriter, by the way. That's not my prowess. So please don't take my copy advice. But build out as many headlines as you can. I capitalize the first letter in every word because there's data that shows that it increases click-through rate. And then add some variances. And what's going to happen is Google is going to build your ad in real time based off of who it is that's searching. So it's going to say, hey, Sylvester likes these terms, these adjectives, these verbs. I'm going to deliver this ad to Sylvester based on what I know about him. And what's kind of terrifying is it works. So we've got our headlines, and I'm occupying as much in the way of characters as I possibly can. You'll also notice that I'm getting away with a little bit of murder here because my character limit is higher than Google's requirement using our insertion. And we'll see whether or not it actually flags me for that. I'll be interested to see how we contend with it. So we'll contend with that together. And now the description is, 30 years in business, named Top Doc 2021, warm hands or whatever. And you want to offer, as much in the way of context and value propositions. Remember that features tell, benefits sell. You want to give people the end result. You want to tell them how their life is going to change. You want to help articulate the value shift to them. So what I've done here isn't great copy. Really what I should be doing is I should be doing things like, a new smile is a new you. And if you wanted to play on like pain and fear, you could say, it's time to stop being embarrassed. Let's say if you wanted new teeth, be careful with that because it can also come off as a little negative too. But let's new smile, new you. Stop being embarrassed. Learn how to spell embarrassed. Cool. You're gonna want as many headlines as you can come up with, as many descriptions as you can come up with. I'm skipping it because that's for the sake of time. URL options for advanced tracking. We already kind of talked about this. If you don't know what it is, skip it. If you know what it is, you know how to use it. And then we're going to say done. I can create a new set of responsive search ads, which I'm not going to do, and click on save and continue. And now one ad has issues, fix errors. You need at least 3 headlines and 2 descriptions without ad customizers. Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. So we're going to say, and incidentally, the reason I didn't know that is because we always maximize the value here. So I would never actually launch a campaign with only 3 headlines. But we'll say implants aren't scary. That's a horrible. Yeah, checking my campaign. I'm going to stop sharing here for just a minute because I want to make sure that my credit card information isn't about to show up. As I move through here, there we go. Google's going to ask me to add a card value. Oh, and you know what's funny is it's not letting me use that location insertion because of the character limitation. So I'm going to just change it to dental implants location, and we'll say save and continue. Sorry, y'all, I need to figure out how to upload payment information. Okay, I'm not going to be able to go past here because I don't want to. There we go. Yeah. I don't actually want to import a card at the moment. Oh, and you know what? Because my final URL isn't real, it's not going to let me publish anyway. So all I wanted to show you is the way that the campaign, let me go back and see if I can fix that. Hold on. There we go. Sorry for the kerfuffle, y'all. So publish, show and stream. There we go. Now I'm going to go all campaigns, check my campaign, and then pause it because I don't actually want to spend money. But now what we have is we have my campaign. If I click on the campaign, it opens it up, and I have my ad groups. I should have 2 here. One would be dental implants, and one would be all on 4. And if I open up my ad groups, then it's going to show me all my keywords, the terms that I'm bidding on. This is where you would live in the short term for exploratory campaigns. Is you have to check your search terms regularly. This might be the most important thing for us to do, is check what terms I'm paying for and whether or not they're relevant. If they're irrelevant, then I add negative search terms. If they're relevant, but I'm not bidding on them, I might add them to this ad group or another ad group. The other thing that you want to do is you want to check your placements, you know, how, and also your positioning, how often you're showing up, what your impression share is, where you're showing up compared to other competitors, whether or not you're limited by budget, those types of things. So from here, we tweak. And that's really, you know, where a lot of the magic happens, is just watching to see where the improvement opportunities are. And it's 1% improvement every day. Hey, Kelvin's here. What's up, buddy? Thanks for being here. Appreciate you, dude. So, you know, this is a video for another day. We actually have a video on, we have a step-by-step tutorial that shows how we do key phrase sculpting, how we do campaign management on an ongoing basis that I'd recommend watching. But other than that, that's the campaign build-out process. It took me about 40 minutes to do that. So, and that was me talking through it. The reason I'm bringing that up is because you can build these things pretty quickly. Now, you'd want to spend a little bit more time with the ad copy, obviously, and the keyword research than I did. But I don't want you to be intimidated by the build-out process because it's not significant, other than all those errors that I hit at the end, which has more to do with the fact that, as you can tell, I don't write my own ad copy. We have copywriters on staff, which is something that I'd encourage, incidentally. It's an art in and of itself. And Google has all these rules, punctuation rules, what you can and cannot say. And so, you know, rope in somebody who's good at that. There's actually some really good resources on Fiverr that'll write your copy for you if you don't have the ability to bring somebody on in-house. That's all I got. I hope this video was valuable to you. I'd love your thoughts, impressions. For those of you who showed up live, thank you so much. Thanks for the questions. Incidentally, that's the only reason that we would do a live, is so that you have the opportunity to ask questions. I'm going to try to go live every Friday, and I'm going to go live every Friday at 9 o'clock my time. So I'm in Arizona, and it's 9 o'clock Arizona time. I'll let you contend with the time zone changes, but I'd love to, you know, start building a little group, and feel free. I can do hot seats, you know, ask questions. We'll figure out kind of the cadence for that type of call. But I appreciate you all being here and watching, and I'll see you next week.